control of the House, Yarmouth will become chairman of the Budget Committee. Former Kentucky State Senator John Doug Hayes has died at the age of 76. Hayes passed Wednesday morning at his home surrounded by family. Among his many accomplishments, Hayes served as a Kentucky State Senator, Assistant Pike County Attorney, and Pike County Deputy Judge Executive. And Russell Springs police say a 4-year-old is injured after his mother accidentally struck him while backing up her car. Authorities say the boy went outside without his mother knowing and was struck as she backed up closer to her apartment building after warming up her car. The boy was airlifted to the hospital and has serious injuries. I'm Jaleesa Chapman.
This is the Kentucky News Network.
This L2501 DT packs powerful performance in one easy-to-operate compact tractor. Now get payments as low as $135 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months, now through December 31st. Come see us or go to gokubota.com for more information.
It's a car wrap scam on Facebook. A local consumer was contacted through Facebook and offered money if she would wrap her car in an advertisement for a beverage. Here's how the scam works. You see a social media post or you receive a message that appears to be from a friend. The company hiring you sends you a check for more than what they agreed to pay you. The company tells you to deposit the check and wire the rest of the money back. Don't fall for it. The check is fake and you will owe the bank money.
Hi, I'm Rihanna Smith-Hamblin with the Better Business Bureau. For more tips, go to bbb.org.
What's the best-selling small tractor in America? Kubota's BX Series Compact. Now get a BX 1880 for as low as $99 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months, now through December 31st. Come see us or go to gokubota.com for more information.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Look for mostly cloudy skies with a high today near 51. Rain is likely overnight with cloudy skies and overnight lows around 39. There's a 20% chance of rain before 9 o'clock in the morning with cloudy skies and gradually mostly sunny. High's only going to be near 47 tomorrow. Friday night football, looking for partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows on Friday night will be around 25. Today, again, is going to be mostly cloudy with a high near 51.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Cozy Living Interiors.
The Joshua Tree Boutique on the Core Square in Princeton is having a huge sale. Snatch up some great bargains off the clearance racks, 50% off. That's a great reason to head into the Joshua Tree Boutique. And while you're there, check out their new fall fashion arrivals and new jewelry. Fall has finally arrived and the Joshua Tree Boutique is ready. Are you? Be sure to like them on Facebook for updates and photos of fashion at the Joshua Tree Boutique, 110 East Court Square, Princeton. Don't miss the 50% off sale.
Pennerile Home Medical, voted the best home medical provider in Western Kentucky for 3 years in a row. Their staff welcomes the opportunity to provide all your home oxygen, CPAP, hospital bed, power wheelchair, home and vehicle lifts, and over 5,000 other items in stock. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. If quality counts, call and request Pennerile Home Medical at 1-800-445-8002. That's 1-800-445-8002.
It's time for the Sideline Report with Princeton Times leader, sports editor Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. Another busy week in sports, and Caldwell County hosting a big football game Friday night at Tiger Stadium against LaRue County. It's playoff time, and it's going to be a big one out there. The two teams met here last year. It was a close game before Caldwell County pulled out a 40-27 victory. Expecting another close one this year, so get out to Tiger Stadium Friday night. As a matter of fact, we're going to open the show this morning by talking a little football, and we have Ed Marlowe of the Paducah Sun joining us on the phone this morning. Ed, good morning. All right, Ed, are you there? All right, we have a little trouble on the phone with Ed this morning, but we'll get back to him in just a second. And We do need to take a break here on the Sideline Report anyway, so stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Get spruced up with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know that buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years.
Don't use tires and wheels, where the customer is always number one. So when life's throwing you a number two, just remember, Dunk's Tires and Wheels, because we'll be here for you. We sell used custom wheels and tires and do plug and patch repair. We have all tread styles and sizes in stock. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and on call for emergencies. Call 270-963-6391. Dunk's Used Tires and Wheels, where the customer is always number one.
Start saving now for 2019 with a Fredonia Valley Bank Christmas Club account. It's easy to save with auto deduction each week from your account or receive a coupon book for weekly payments. Multiple accounts may be opened, but not to exceed $5,000 per year. Choose your convenient payment method today. You may find it handy having extra cash for the holidays or an easy way to save or pay end-of-year expenses. Interest will be added to your Christmas Club as long as all 50 payments are made before the ending due date next year. Fredonia Valley Bank, a real community bank at 602 Cassidy in Fredonia or 226 Commerce Street in Eddyville. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Back on the Sideline Report this morning, this is Todd Griffin of the Princeton Times-Leader, and on the show today, Ed Marlowe of the Paducah Sun and Daniel Kukihiko, the Caldwell County boys basketball head coach, will be joining us a little bit later on. Let's try the phone thing again, and Ed, good morning. How's it going?
Todd, can you hear me, man?
Absolutely. I think that was me earlier. I think that was just, there are too many buttons sometimes.
Hey, no, I completely understand. That's how I feel when I'm playing video games these days. There's just too many buttons. It's not the same as it was back in the late 70s and early 80s when you only had the A, the B, the up, down, and start select. It's a little more complicated now.
Well, see, I was looking for the rotary phone, so I had a little difficulty this morning.
Well, listen, I love rotary phones. I grew up using a rotary phone, so there was nothing cooler when your little fingers could push wasn't it the 0 that you just started, and that's when all the way? Is that the one that went all the way around? Is that right, or was it the 9?
I can't remember. It's been too long.
It's been long enough now. So.
We're spoiled anymore. Everything's easy.
Not everything's easy. This first round matchup, or the second round matchup for Caldwell County and LaRue, this is a great second round matchup.
Well, and it's a big week in the third and Class 3A in the first region. You got Caldwell County hosting LaRue County. That's going to be big. Paducah Tillman's going to Elizabethtown. That might be even bigger. Ed, how do you see those matchups kind of coming along?
Well, it's interesting you asked me about that. Normally, we don't really go to E-Town unless, it's the regional championship. But with the way Tillman's been playing, it's football this season, and you had you have some first-hand experience with how good they can be. Caldwell did come away with that big win in Paducah as part of their, kind of reversal of fortunes midway through the season. I think after that Henderson game, Caldwell County just started playing a brand of football that really made them super successful, and then, of course, closed the season hanging with Mayfield. But both of these games for Class 3A are fantastic, in my opinion. I'll be in E-Town, I believe. I think I'm going to get up fairly early tomorrow, kind of get an early start, get out towards E-Town. Luckily, the Eastern time zone plays to our benefit. They kick off at 7:30, which will be much better for my deadline. So I think I'm going to go check out Paducah Tillman and E-Town. I think the surprising thing about E-Town is last week they really kind of had to fend off Trigg County. Cam Jordan had a really big game against E-Town last week. I think over 150 yards passing, 130 yards rushing. E-Town, of course, did score 61 points and won 61-33. But, this is an E-Town team that I think, teams, if they play their cards right, can really score points. And if they're able to find some sort of defense that can stymie the Panthers, you've got a chance to beat them. That being said, I think E-Town being at home is probably a little bit of a favorite here. They've been in this position, several times now over the past few years. I know that they've kind of been a tough nemesis for Caldwell County. I've been at a couple of those games over the years. And it's going to be really interesting. I know E-Town lost quite a bit of talent from graduation, but no question, they're still a really, really great 3A football program. Again, that being said, Tillman's just a great rushing team. They do such a good job methodically moving down the field. They got a plethora of backs they can throw at you, and I expect it to be a really good football game. I expect this Caldwell-LaRue game to be as good, if not better, and probably just as close. I think I've got to give the edge to Caldwell, though, being at home. And I really just have to tip my hat to the defense. This is a defense that's really, kind of righted the ship after that tough start this season. To force that many turnovers against a Mayfield team that's done such a great job, really motoring down the field, that's got to be just a lot of excitement and a lot of happiness, a lot of things going the right way for Caldwell football going into the playoffs.
Well, if you look at the 4 teams still remaining in the first region of Class 3A, I think all 4 of those teams, when they're good, they're really good. But I think with each one of those teams, you can kind of go back through the season and see where they hit a little bit of a lull. Tillman with the best record of the group at 9-2, and I think those 2 losses were to Caldwell County and Mayfield, so certainly no shame in that.
No, absolutely not. I'm glad you mentioned that. Again, this is one of the better teams that Tillman has had in a long time. I mean, they entered the playoffs 8-2 for the first time since 2011 this year, and had no trouble last week against Hart County. So, of course, as well as anybody, Todd, that the first round of high school, of Kentucky high school football can sometimes not really be very indicative of some of the best teams. You have a lot of lopsided matchups, a lot of 1v4s that end up being kind of running clock situations. Tillman was in that cup last week, where they were just able to kind of handle Hart County and kind of do what they wanted there at McWright Field in Paducah. But you're right. I mean, when your 2 losses are Tillman for Tillman are Mayfield, which that game was tied 28-all after the first quarter. Before Mayfield rang off, I think, 23 straight points to kind of pull away with it. And then Caldwell, which, honestly, 37-22, it's a big win. But, Caldwell was able to find one thing against Tillman, and that was passing the ball. They were able, Joby Jaggers was able to attack that defense through the air. I think what did he throw for 335 yards or something like that, something close to that.
Yeah, that was a big night, and that was right during the Tigers' best run of the season, the second half of the Crittenden County game. Then they played a really good Henderson County team and beat them, and then had Paducah Tillman right after that. So that was probably Caldwell's best stretch of the season.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. In our picks chart for 2 straight weeks, it was really strange. For 2 straight weeks, everybody, all 12 of us, our whole panel of picks for the Paducah Sun picked Henderson to beat Caldwell because, you understand, you and I remember talking midway through the season, that was, everybody was like, well, why did everybody pick Henderson? Well, Henderson coming into that game had played such great football. They were also 4-0 coming into that game. And, I think a lot of people had seen, Caldwell, lose to Christian and whatnot, and just didn't really know what was going to happen. Well, that was kind of the turning point for Caldwell's season. And then the same with the next week. Tillman had been playing such great football, and it was in Paducah, and I think everybody kind of bought the hype engine a little bit. And not that they shouldn't have, because, Tillman's been really good this year, but, then Caldwell came in and had a great game plan and really attacked what has been probably one of the bigger weaknesses of Paducah Tillman this year. If you had to find a fault in their defense, it would be that they are susceptible to giving up the big pass because they play run defense so well. So, needless to say, both of these teams in 3A have done a great job getting into the positions they're at, and anything can happen. I mean, the crazy thing is if both of them come away with wins, we're looking at a regional championship that would be, I think, a great rematch. But you don't want to look too far ahead. Obviously, Friday is a huge game for both of these programs. I know how bad Caldwell wants to get back to the regional championship, and I know how bad Tillman would like to return to the regional championship. And who knows? These are both really special games.
Well, the big question of the week in Caldwell County has been, do you want to play Elizabethtown in that next round, or do you want to play Paducah-Tillman, which gets you another home game? Of course, as you mentioned, LaRue County awaits first, and you have to take care of business there. But, I think a lot of people here are torn. If Caldwell wins Friday night and advances, a lot of people want to beat E-Town and finally get over that hump. A lot of people like me are in the other camp and would rather have the home game.
Yeah, it's tough. For me, man, it really is tough. Because the thing about it is, you'd love to get some redemption against E-Town. I mean, I feel like that would be a really, really sweet piece of the puzzle if you made the state semis after beating a team. Elizabethtown, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't E-Town beaten Caldwell the last 3 seasons in a row?
Yes, and the first of those was a Hail Mary at the very end, right after it looked like Caldwell County had pulled that game out.
I have never forgotten that game. That was my first year. Of course, I had covered some Caldwell football and had, of course, talked with David Barnes with my time at the Ledger, the Murray Ledger and Times, because I covered some Murray High School football, and Murray High School football in those mid-2000s with, some of Keith Hodges' first teams, of course, had to match up against, Elijah Sindelar in Caldwell County. And, that was back in 2A. And I know that's a place you guys are fixing to return to. But, when you guys moved up, to 3A, then all of a sudden it ended up being the E-Town show that you guys had to face each year. And, yeah, I will never forget that game in Princeton because, that was a really, really tough loss. That game came down to the wire. It also came down to nearly my deadline. And, man, after that game, I just packed my stuff up and went to the car. I was just like, man, there is not a single coach on the Caldwell sideline that's going to want to talk to me. It was already almost 10:30. I mean, you remember how late that game was because it was so close. Both teams using it all the time possible to win that football game. And then, what was it, about a 45-yard pass that won the game, I believe?
Yeah, and there was a roughing the passer penalty earlier in the drive that kind of helped E-Town out, and just everything kind of worked against the Tigers on that last drive.
Yeah, and then the next year, you felt like that was at E-Town. I believe Zach Gaither got robbed of a touchdown there in the end zone.
Yeah, back of the end zone.
Back of the end zone, that was certainly a touchdown, and that kind of was a big momentum killer, and E-Town won that. And then last year, of course, E-Town was just a monster team.
Oh, yeah, they were just that good.
Yeah, they definitely were that good, but it was still a tough start for Caldwell at home. Ended up losing, I believe, 55-8, I think. And so, it's tough. I mean, you bring up a great question. Do you want another home game against a really, really good Paducah-Tillman team? Or do you want to go on the road and really get some redemption against an E-Town team that's really plagued you over the last 3 seasons? It's a great storyline, but obviously the most important thing is just to focus on Friday, and this is a LaRue County team that you really can't, look past, not one bit.
And a little similarity between LaRue County and Paducah-Tillman, I think, in that LaRue is a very run-heavy team. They did throw 6 passes last week and completed all of them against Union County, but I don't think Union County played really well. But if the Tigers can figure out a way to stop that LaRue County run game, I think a lot like the Tillman game earlier this year, they can have a lot of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like I said, I think that's where Caldwell County has really found its druthers. And again, it's hard to really say if defense was an issue against a team like Christian County. That game was just so strange and wonky for the first game of the year anyways. A lot has changed since then, but you get past, I think once you got that second half effort against Crittenden County, of course, again, that's a team that people need to be talking about because I think it's extremely possible they make the regional championship and maybe go a little further. But, you talk about a Caldwell County team that really woke up in the second half against Crittenden County, and they've been a different program ever since. And so, if they can stop the run of LaRue County, which, again, I think is extremely possible, you take a look at some of the models of success where they've stopped the run. They did a really good job handling what Paducah-Tillman had to offer up front. Then that's going to be a recipe of success, and Caldwell County will make the regional championship. But, again, you just don't want to look too far ahead. It's a LaRue County team that's probably smarting from last season's loss. They hung last year before getting clipped late, and they too want to be in the regional championship just as much as Caldwell County does. So, again, I expect a great game from Caldwell and LaRue, and fully look forward to your up to the minute updates on social media.
Oh, yeah, the Twitter thing is big anymore, and, I looked at your updates last night because I know you were at the Murray State women's game, and, hey, they got a big win last night.
Yeah, they did. Evansville is still a pretty young program as far as players. They're certainly trying to develop some of their talent. I know last year they had a tough 3-27 season. One of their better players ended up having the red shirt. Brooke Bishop, she played a little bit last night, and so, but it was definitely a big win to start the season. They play Oakland City on Saturday as part of a doubleheader. The men get started with their regular season home opener against Wright State, which just whomped. They just went all to town against Western Carolina last night. But we'll see how their season goes. The Racer women, with so many new pieces, were picked to finish 12th in the league last because they have 8 new faces and they only returned 2 mercurial starters. So it's just a lot of new pieces coming together for Coach Rochelle Turner. But there's some familiar faces on the team. Three former Murray Lady Tigers in starting point guard Macy Turley, and a couple of bench players. Alex Mays has actually started the last couple of games, but Alexis Burpo has been coming off the bench, and then several other Kentucky names that I think people will recognize. Macy Gibson from Owsley County. She was first team All-AP last year, led the state in scoring and rebounding. She was really good, and she's coming off the bench right now. And then of course, in your neck of the woods, Deasia Outlaw, who ended up doing a couple years of JUCO. She was at Henderson County and was a special player. She came off the bench in the exhibition game, and then started last night and had 5 points, to a couple rebounds, couple assists. She's going to be kind of a key factor for them this year, I think, too. So just a lot of different new faces, but yeah, definitely a big win for Racer women's basketball to start the 2018-19 season.
Well, and the men there are looking for a big season, too. I think it's going to be a fun basketball season. I think UK is going to be really good this year, the Duke game notwithstanding, and I think Western Kentucky has a really good team this year, and I think the Racers are, right there in the thick of things again, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Kentucky basketball in general, I think, across the state is going to be pretty good. Preston Spradlin's headed to his second year from Moorhead. Eastern Kentucky, had a tough home opener last night against Marshall. Marshall, that's the same Marshall team that beat Wichita State in the opening round of the NCAA tournaments last year and won Conference USA, surprising everybody. Got hot late and played great basketball. Of course, they have one of the best players in the nation in John Elmore. Had 400 points, 200 rebounds, 200 assists. The only other person that had those kind of numbers was Murray State point guard John Morant. So, I hope people in Western Kentucky take advantage of what should be a great basketball season across the Commonwealth. Hope they do check out the Racers at some point this year. Their schedule this year is actually really good. Great non-conference schedule. Got a couple SEC games. They're playing at Auburn and at Alabama. As a matter of fact, the Alabama game's not too far away. It's right after Thanksgiving on November 26th. It's a Monday. And I hope people check the Racers out. I know sometimes they can kind of get lost, in the headlines with UK, Western. EKU is going to be a little bit better this year. Louisville, of course, a lot of people will be watching what Louisville's doing under Chris Mack. And, I just hope people check the Racers out because, John Morant, he's a future NBA player. And that's not to be mistaken. There's a lot of talk that he's going to be a first-round type talent. And, it's just because of the way that he plays basketball. He's just so athletic, extremely gifted passer. Averaged 12.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists last year on 47% shooting from the floor. So this is a kid. This is a 18, 19-year-old kid that's really, really surprising people at the professional level. 2 weeks ago at practice, he had 13 NBA scouts watching him. So,
oh, wow.
You know, this is not a joke. This is he's a legitimate stud type player. In exhibition play, he had double-digit points and 9 assists. So he just, he really can get it done on both ends of the floor. And really hope people in Western Kentucky pay attention not only to just the true blue bloods of the state, but also some of the smaller teams that don't necessarily get as much recognition.
And if you want to follow the Murray State Racers this year, one, you need an ESPN Plus account. I've already got one of those. Costs a little money, but I think it's going to be worth it. Or follow Ed on Twitter. Right, Ed?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm going to try to be at as many games as possible. There's a couple road games that might be tough for me to get to, but again, it's a great schedule. It's a very regional schedule for the Racers. I think Matt McMahon and his staff will tell you, I think they did a pretty good job wrangling in some local talent. Of course, they're playing Middle Tennessee State. That's always a great rivalry. They picked up Missouri State out of the Missouri Valley. They play Walter McCarty, the new head coach. He and Evansville come to the CFSB Center on December 18th. That's a great regional matchup. Of course, Evansville is now the host of the OVC tournament, so for the next couple of years. So, and it was a great venue last year. And then, of course, they have renewed the rivalry with Barry Henson and SIU Carbondale. So another great Missouri Valley program. SIU, I believe, was picked to either finish 3rd or 4th in the Missouri Valley, which is a great conference. As anyone well knows, that's where Loyola Chicago came out of. And, if Sister Jean, can support Loyola Chicago, then we all can. So, but that's a special conference as well. So, again, a great schedule for the Racers this year. They've got a couple of kind of easier, softer matchups on their non-conference schedule. But, hey, so does everybody this day and age. And but it's a great round of games before they get into OVC play. And, of course, I mean, as well as anybody, there's some great teams in the OVC. Austin Peay, Belmont was picked to win the league again this year. Jacksonville State, with former Western Kentucky head coach Ray Harper at the helm, they're going to be really good this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch over these next 3 months to see what happens.
Yeah, it should be a fun basketball season. Well, Ed, as always, I really appreciate you coming on, taking some time with us. And, I think you guys still owe me a pizza from a couple of years ago, but at this point, we're probably even.
No. I say that, though. I mean, we still need to have some pizza at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's come to Paducah, or we could come to Princeton. I don't care. We've been to Princeton several times. I think the one thing that Al Willman, my coworker, and I try to iterate is that we try to travel West Kentucky as much as possible. We obviously have to pay attention to Paducah athletics and Paducah sports with several teams just right in our backyard, but we try to take a look at all of Western Kentucky and all the fine food that it has to offer. So we can come eat Paducah. We can come eat Princeton pizza just as well as you can come and eat Paducah pizza.
Yeah, we definitely have to make that happen.
No, absolutely.
All right, Ed, thanks. I appreciate it. I know you got to go, and we've got Daniel Kukihiko coming up. We're going to talk to him some basketball later on. So, Ed, thanks. Have a good day. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, you too. Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Again, that's Ed Marlowe of the Paducah Sun joining us this morning on the Sideline Report here on WPKY. Need to take a break on the show, but Daniel Kukihiko is here. We'll be talking Caldwell County boys basketball and some other things, so stay with us.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Look for mostly cloudy skies with a high today near 51. Rain is likely overnight with cloudy skies and overnight lows around 39. There's a 20% chance of rain before 9 o'clock in the morning with cloudy skies and gradually mostly sunny. High's only going to be near 47 tomorrow. Friday night football, looking for partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows on Friday night will be around 25. Today, again, is going to be mostly cloudy with a high near 51.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Penny Rowell Home Medical.
This is Fred Foltz at the Woodall Agency in Princeton. We have served the small business owners of this area for over 100 years. Do you have trouble understanding liability or workers' comp insurance? Are your insurance premiums spiraling out of control? Whether you're a furniture store on Main Street, a plumber or electrician, or a locally owned bank or car dealer, we have a policy for you. We are the business insurance experts. give me a call at 365-5541. You'll be glad you did.
And we're back on the Sideline Report on WPKY Radio this morning. Good morning. This is Todd Griffin of the Princeton Times-Leader. And big football game coming up at Tiger Stadium Friday night. The Tigers hosting LaRue County. Kickoff time at 7 o'clock as we head into the second round of the playoffs. Before we get any further, I do want to tell you about Dave's Deal of the Week at U-Ride in Princeton. It's a 2011 white Buick Regal. 111,000 miles with a leather interior, just $9,500. Contact Dave at U-Ride, 270-365-3215. That's U-Ride, 310 Marion Road in Princeton. Well, we've talked some football this morning. We've talked some basketball this morning, and we're going to talk a little more basketball right now with Daniel Kukihiko, the Caldwell County boys basketball head coach, joins us this morning. Daniel, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Todd?
Good. Thank you for coming in this morning. I know you're busy and trying to get the basketball season underway, and your Tigers heading to Ballard Memorial tonight for a scrimmage.
That's right. Heading down there. We've scrimmaged in the last couple of years, so we're going to go down and see what happens tonight, see what we look like for the first time against another opponent.
Well, how do you feel going into the season? Are you guys about where you'd like to be at this point in time?
We are. We've got a good group in the gym right now. We have a lot of experience in the gym right now, which is kind of uncommon for us. Most of the time, once football season wraps up, then we get most of our team in the gym. But right now, we've got a good core group. We've got 12 guys in the gym right now, and the good thing is 9 or 10 of those have, or 8 or 9 of those have some varsity experience from last year, and I think 5 or 6 of those actually have some starting experience. So we've got a good group in the gym right now, able to get, I don't want to say we're a little ahead of where we normally are at this point in the season, but just having the guys in the gym that compile that varsity roster, a lot of them, is allowed us to do a little more than we have in the past.
Well, do you know anything about Ballard going down there?
I don't know a thing. I know that they were in the playoffs last week for the football. I know they have some kind of similar situation that we do. All I know is we're going out there to play.
About what time do you think you'll get going tonight?
Hopefully we'll start. Our plan is 5:30. Once we can get on the bus and get down there, we'll get off stretch and warm up a little bit, and then go at it for 2.5, 3 hours.
It's usually about an hour trip, maybe just a little more to get down to Ballard Memorial. And do you have any other scrimmages lined up? Is this going to be the only preseason test?
I think this will be the only preseason test. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but trying a little bit of a different approach. We've been in the gym a little bit longer at this point than we normally are. Give us a test and give us a little more time to prepare for opening the regular season.
Well, it looks like the Tigers are set up to have a pretty good year. Some of the preseason rankings I've seen actually have Caldwell County around 5th or 6th in the region, which, when you look at the second region, that's pretty good.
I agree. And rankings are they're good because I guess it gives everybody something to talk about. But at the same time, when the ball goes up, they it's us versus them. So we like just going out and competing.
The Tigers at Ballard Memorial tonight for their first scrimmage, and the season doesn't open for a little while. The regular season will tip off on Tuesday, November 27th at Lyon County, a boys and girls doubleheader. And then you've got the 6th District and 7th District Challenge a little earlier this year than it usually is.
It is. They moved it to up into December a little bit earlier. It's a good event. It gets more than one team at one location, girls and boys, and we're able to, it's a good day of basketball. We'll just say that. So we're excited to be a part of that and be playing Union County this year.
Caldwell County playing Union County. It's over at Webster County. I think we hosted that last year.
We did. Mm-hmm.
Caldwell County in the rotation with Union County, Hopkins County Central, and Webster County. That's the 4 teams, and a pretty good gauge of the season. And like I said, a good way to get everybody together and have one big day of basketball.
Absolutely.
Going into the season, you've got one of the players to watch in the second region, and Darian Boyd. He's a senior this year. I think if the kid was 6'7", you'd have every college down here looking at him, but at 6'3" or 6'4", what kind of looks is he getting right now from some colleges?
He's looking some looks from D3 NAIA schools. Been on a couple of visits to those places, and he's gotten a little bit bigger since last year, both just height-wise and also just strength-wise. He's put in a lot of work in the off season, not just with his shot and those things, but preparing his body for another strenuous varsity basketball season.
Well, he does a lot of things for you. Everybody looks at the points, but he rebounds, he takes care of the ball, he defends. He's a good all-around player. He is.
He's fun to watch, and he's fun to coach. I think the biggest area that he's improved that I've seen since this point last year is his leadership. He's always been one of those that leads by example, and we're trying to get him to be a little more vocal, and he's really, as well as some other guys, have really stepped up and started to do that a little more. And then a lot of the guys just they follow him for whatever reason. They follow him. It's a gift that he has. So he, like you said, he does a lot of things on the court for us. Last year, I think he was averaging 23 points a game. He averaged almost a double-double. He was about 8.5 or 9 rebounds a game, and he's an athlete, and athletes, go make plays, and he did a good job of that last year. And we're going to, ask him to do the exact same thing this year and probably step up his game a little more.
Well, and one thing you have is experience, and that's not something that every team has. Not just Darien, but a lot of those guys have played for a long time and have a lot of games under their belt.
Right. It's always nice when you can bring back, especially the smaller school, you bring back your leading scorer, your leading rebounder, and then you bring back, we have 6 guys that'll be that have started a game, at least one game, or if not more games, coming back to our varsity roster from last year. And then you add a couple other guys who played significant minutes last year, and now we have a couple more younger guys, a freshman and sophomore, that will maybe able to crack some minutes in the varsity time this year. It's nice to have that. I guess depth is the word to put there, because it for one, from a coach, it's nice to have options, but at the same time, it also drives competition. There's no spots secure, and it allows these guys to compete every day in practice and earn their time.
Well, one thing you always fight this time of year is getting those football players, because typically Caldwell County's football season has gone a little bit longer than at some schools, which is a great thing. And don't take this the wrong way, but I hope you don't get those football players for several weeks. But that's always something you kind of fight this time of year, trying to get your basketball team molded into shape.
I agree. I think the success of our football program, and Coach Barnes and even the coaches before him have done a fantastic job. And it's always nice. There's no better thing than the Friday night lights here until you get to wintertime, and then it's time to turn the lights on in the cab and go at it there. But I agree. I'll trade a state championship for not getting those guys until even after our first few games of the season. But it's always a challenge. It always takes those guys. I think we have, counting all of our from freshman to senior, we'll have 6 or 7 guys that are coming. It always takes those guys, maybe even 3 weeks, maybe even a month to really get their legs underneath them, to get their mind getting away from shooting a football to a basketball. It's always kind of fun to watch them shoot at the very beginning, but they do a good job of coming in, putting in extra work to get themselves ready for a long season.
Well, do you kind of know what your starting lineup's going to look like this year? Do you kind of know what kind of style of basketball you want to play, or is that still kind of a thing you're trying to feel out?
Well, as far as a style, I think we have the ability to get out and go. We have a couple of post players right now that have some experience, Jude East and Cole Smiley. I think they're pretty versatile. They can stretch the floor a little bit, and then we have a bunch of guards to go with them. And I think that we can get out and push the basketball and score a lot of points in transition. But we got to be able to execute. We spent a lot of time on this executing in the half-court set as well, which is what probably any coach would tell you. Push the basketball. If you don't have anything, you want to be patient. And so I think we want to pick up the pace when it's there, but also be disciplined to when the half-court set to get the shot that we want, not the shot the defense wants us to have. And then as far as the starting lineup, and I tell the guys this almost every day, having this many options in the gym right now, it's hard to pick, and it may look very different over the first 4, 5, 10, 20, 35 games over the season. It may look very different as the season goes on, because I think if one of the things we talk about with the players is that we're going to have contributions from everybody to win basketball games. 8, 9, maybe even 10 guys, and the guys who start may play 32 minutes a game, or they may play 3 minutes a game, and we just want it to be seen as a team effort and not get caught up into who's starting it, but we're going to finish it as a team.
Well, I mentioned that you guys are actually ranked pretty high as far as the second region rankings go, and the only bad thing there is when you look at the teams above you, one of them is Madisonville, and that's in the district, so that's a pretty big mountain you have to climb just to get to that district championship, which is, I think, one of the first goals every team sets.
Absolutely. You want to win your first game in the district because that assures you a spot in the regional tournament, and you get to play a couple more games, like you said, and I think that kind of applies to all of our district. All 4 teams this year I don't think lost too much, if anything. I know we lost 1 player last year, and the other ones I'm not sure they lost too much at all. They've got, I think I say this a lot, I feel like we can compete with anybody, and last year I think we proved at Madisonville we got down very early, got behind, but we fought back and did a lot of positive things, and we reference that a whole lot in practice, especially, Madisonville has some good guards, but they have a couple of big kids inside. They have Casey, they have Kenny White, that are they're just big guys, and they present matchup problems, but at the same time I feel like we can present some matchup problems for them if we have our mindset right, and we proved that in the first half of the game over there in Madisonville. We played very, very well, and then with Central here, obviously lost a tough one at the end of our season last year, but I think we have all the pieces we need to compete with anybody.
One of the things I thought last year, when we played a team that didn't have that big man in the middle, we were able to get to the rim and score a lot of points. But then you throw a Madisonville or a UHA or a Hopkinsville or somebody like that out there with a great big guy in the middle, that kind of takes away that penetration and getting to the rim, and then we struggle to score just a little bit off of that.
Right, and I think that hopefully that changes a little bit this year with our maturity. We had a lot of guys last year, especially just throughout the season, that just were thrown into positions that they either weren't ready for or thrown into positions that they had never been in before. And so hopefully this year, that experience from last year, we can draw on that and realize that not to settle for outside shots, to really put a whole lot of pressure on the rim, put a whole lot of pressure no matter who's in there, no matter if it's 6'8", 6'9", Casey or whoever else is in there, but just to really not let who we're playing dictate how we play. We want to get to the rim, shoot a lot of free throws, and get a lot of shots that we want, not what they want to give us.
We talked about the schedule a little bit earlier. Starting the season at Lyon County, that's always a tough way to go, and then the Union County games early. But another thing for people who look at the December schedule is the Kentucky 2A Championships for the first time. Caldwell County is a little bit too large for the All-A Classic, but thankfully the 2A Championships for the first time ever coming this year, that still kind of gives us a chance to compete with schools more Caldwell County size.
It should be a good event. It's set up, and I think the first round, we'll host the first round here. Paducah Tillman's coming to town, and that'll be a tough matchup. I know Coach Thomas down there has got, he'll have his guys ready, and then I think the winner of our game gets Webster County. It doesn't get any easier there. And then you get to move to, depending on who makes it there. And the thing about this is it's early in the season. You got to take it one game at a time, and the thing I like about it is it's kind of similar to All-A. It provides that tournament atmosphere that you can't simulate that in a regular season game. This is one of those things where you win or you're done in the tournament. So I think it's going to be a good event. And I know several have put in a lot of time. I think the state tournament will be in Owensboro, so it's just going to be it'll be a fun event to play in.
Well, Caldwell County's teams, is that a double header, boys and girls, or are those on separate nights?
They're on separate nights as of now.
All right. Caldwell County kind of falls into an interesting spot as far as enrollment, because Caldwell County was always one of the bigger schools in the All-A Classic. As a matter of fact, almost too big to be in something called an All-A Classic, but we kind of slipped in under the wire there for several years. But now when you look at the Kentucky 2A Championships, we're actually one of the smaller schools in that, so where we had a bit of an advantage in the Class A, now we're at just a little bit of a disadvantage in the Class 2A because there are some pretty good-sized schools in this.
There are. It goes from the All-A goes. It's the bottom 120 by enrollment. 120 schools in the state, and I think we were 121 this year.
Yeah.
So now, and then the 2A goes from that 121 spot all the way up to enrollment of 999. So, the Central qualifies for the 2A, who's also in our district. Madisonville does not. So basically, you take out the top Madisonville, Henderson, Hopkinsville, Christian County, take those out, and then the ones that are in the All-A, and then it's pretty much everybody else that's in our, or is everybody else in our region.
The first section of the Kentucky 2A championships is actually, I think, regions 1 through 4. I'm not sure we've talked about that on the show before, but that's interesting. And each section kind of gets to determine how they figure their own champion, because I believe the section champion and runner-up will advance to the state tournament in Owensboro. But, yeah, you look down and you've got Franklin Simpson, Warren Central, Allen County, Scottsville, Glasgow. Those teams are all, in the same section as us.
Absolutely. There's a lot of teams in sections 1 through 4. So it's going to be a battle to each game's going to be a battle. I mean, you can look at from our road, Paducah, Tillman, and Webster, and then it's not easy at all, which is, you don't want it easy. And so it's going to be a big time event. There's going to be a lot of talent in the 2A, I think, this year, and so I'm excited to see. Hopefully we can have a little success in there.
Yeah, again, Caldwell County opening with Paducah Tillman. If the Tigers win, they would go to Webster County, and then a win there would put them in the semifinals. The semifinals are January 12th at Hopkins County Central. The championship game the next day at Hopkins County Central. So that's going to be interesting. The first time they've done a 2A championship, and I think that's good. I kind of wish the KHSAA would just go ahead and classify everything, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So the 2A championship and the All-A Classic are the next best thing, and the 2A championship starting with basketball this season, and they're going to try to expand to other sports later on, I think.
That's the plan, I think. I haven't heard exactly what sports, but they're going to expand in the future.
So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. And, of course, Caldwell County, as we mentioned, right on that line. As a matter of fact, there was one year we weren't in the All-A Classic, and then the next year we were back in it again. So it's always possible that within a year or two we could be back down in the All-A Classic.
Absolutely.
Looking at the schedule, mentioned some good stuff coming up early, but I think the big thing on the schedule is the West Kentucky Hoops Classic. That's December 27th and 28th at the Community Activities Building, and I've just been really impressed with the teams you guys have been able to bring in and the way the event has come together, and just so many good basketball teams, so many good players that are going to be here in town. You don't have to go any place to see them. Just go out to the gym, and there they are.
Absolutely. Got to give a shout out first to our title sponsors for that event. They've helped make our event, along with every other sponsor that helps out. Goodwood Insurance and Tori Hammond there, especially, in help of getting those teams in here. Jason Redfern at First Southern and that organization, and then Williams Fawn Associates. They've done a great job of just helping us, providing us with the support we need to get that going. And then also we have another list of each year. The past year, it's been 25 or 30 sponsors at least that have helped to make this event possible. But it's an exciting event. I'll be honest, when we started this, I think this is year number 6 that we'll be having here, or year number 5. I'm sorry. It started out we wanted some more home games over the break, and then it's developed into something that we've got. I think 5 different states coming this year on the boys' side, and a lot of talent going to be in the gym, not only wearing blue and gold, but from other states as well.
Oh, yeah, and it's just 2 days of wall-to-wall basketball.
It is, and it's boys and girls, and our girls will play a couple games. We'll play, I think, 3 games this year, and then it's just we try to, making out the schedule, look at research the teams and see, who'd be the best matchup, and and Tori's done a good job of helping us get those matchups, recruit those teams, and it's going to be a fun event.
We're talking with Daniel Kukihiko, the Caldwell County boys basketball coach, and we need to get to another break here on the Sideline Report, but we've got more to go, so stay with us here on WPKY.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Look for mostly cloudy skies with a high today near 51. Rain is likely overnight with cloudy skies and overnight lows around 39. There's a 20% chance of rain before 9 o'clock in the morning with cloudy skies and gradually mostly sunny. High's only going to be near 47 tomorrow. Friday night football, looking for partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows on Friday night will be around 25. Today, again, is going to be mostly cloudy with a high near 51.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Cozy Living Interiors.
Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
We are back on the Sideline Report. Todd Griffin in the studio this morning with Daniel Kukihiko, the Caldwell County boys basketball coach, and the Tigers scrimmaging at Ballard Memorial tonight, getting the basketball season. We're kind of in that rollover time of year, or overlap time of year, where football season's still going on, basketball season's trying to get going, so it's a busy time. But the Tigers are ready to play basketball tonight at Ballard Memorial, and actually a couple of former Tigers getting ready for their college seasons. Actually, more than getting ready, Eli Pepper was on the court the other night for Lipscomb and really played well in their opening night win. Josh Wilkerson is up at Kentucky State. I think he might be injured right now, not playing, but certainly congratulations to those guys. And Eli's had a great career down at Lipscomb so far.
He is. It's fun to watch guys go on from this school, whether not just basketball, but we're talking about basketball now, just to see them compete at the next level. And Eli's been fun to watch the last 3.5 years. And you know, he was a very fun player to coach in high school, and he's been very fun to watch, you know, develop at Lipscomb, and even last year when they made their run to the NCAA tournament. And you know, he's a great guy. He was a great leader when he was here, and look forward to following his progress there. And then Kentucky State, yeah, Josh is a little banged up. Talked to him the other day, and said that hope he helps get back on the floor soon. But both those guys are doing well. I think they're representing Caldwell County very well.
Eli is a senior this year at Lipscomb, which is difficult to believe. Josh, just a freshman now at Kentucky State. I believe he went to prep school, so he's still got quite a bit of eligibility. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Eli is actually on pace to score 1,000 points and grab 1,000 rebounds at Lipscomb.
Yes, he is. He is. It's the rebounds really don't surprise me at all. I feel like you look at his stat lines over the last 3 years, and sometimes he gets 7, 8, 9 points, but it's usually consistent that he always gets somewhere around that 10 rebound mark. He has a knack for that. So I'm glad he's carried that over to the next level, and it's just a tribute to his hard work.
Well, the one thing that always sticks out to me when Eli announced he was going to Lipscomb, one of the things he said was he was going to go there because he wanted to play in the NCAA tournament, which my first thought was, I don't think they've played in the NCAA tournament, but, last year he played North Carolina. There he was in the NCAA tournament. Right. So, I was proud to see that, and kid go to school and want that, and, that happened for him.
It is. It was fun. It's fun hearing, talk to him after they got back, and it was fun to hear his take on the whole process, and the guys that you could tell that they were a team, and that's what attributed to them winning the conference and then getting able to go play North Carolina, and just hearing about the whole process was very cool. Very cool. It's an experience I know he won't forget, and hopefully they will try to duplicate again this year.
And Josh Wilkerson had, a good career here and played well at Lyon County. He was at Lyon County before he came to Caldwell County, and that's another kid that, he was 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Everybody would be after him, but the unfortunate truth about big-time college basketball anymore is if you're not 6'7" or 6'8", you can't get a whole lot of looks.
Right. It's hard to crack your way in there unless you can do some pretty spectacular things. And those two guys, like I said, are continuing to represent our program very, very well. And I was blessed to be able to coach those guys.
The Tigers playing their first scrimmage tonight down at Ballard Memorial. The Tigers going to try to get underway about 5:30. Just one other thing, going into each season, there's always some rules changes. I heard you talking to the team the other day about a few different little things about the pregame warm-up. What are some rule changes to look for this year?
There's always a few. There's always a few points of emphasis. The traveling call, the Euro step, all those moves that the NBA guys can do, and a lot of high school players try to do, but aren't quite as good at yet. Those things. There's some just some minor uniform things. Really, there's not a whole lot other than that. Officials have a very, very tough job to police all those things. But you're looking forward when the bottom line comes down to it. Play solid defense by using your hands, and on the offensive end, attack it and put the ball in the hole, and we should be fine. Yeah. So.
Well, it's a busy time of year at Caldwell County. Again, a big football playoff game coming up Friday night. LaRue County is here. It kicks off at 7 o'clock. Gator and DT will be in this time slot tomorrow with Tiger Sports Talk. And I don't know who their guests are, but I bet there's somebody named Jaggers, at least one Jaggers, in the studio tomorrow.
Odds are pretty good for that.
Yeah. Daniel, appreciate you taking time to come in, and look forward to another great basketball season. It's going to be fun.
Well, thank you. Appreciate what you do. You do a lot. You probably don't get the recognition. I know you don't get the recognition you deserve. You put in a lot more man hours probably than I do, and do a good job covering our athletes. So thank you.
Right. That's Daniel Kukihiko, the Caldwell County boys basketball head coach. Thanks to him again. Thanks to Ed Marlowe of the Paducah Sun. It's been a fun show this morning, and hopefully a lot of good information. Get out to the football stadium Friday night. The Tigers are hosting LaRue County. Also another big game that involves us, we hope. Paducah Tillman is at E-Town. Hopefully a few more home games coming up for the Tigers. That's what I'm hoping for. Could be the last home game of the season, though, this Friday night, so get out to Tiger Stadium. And that's going to wrap up the Sideline Report for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Ramos. Another mass shooting, this one in Southern California. 11 people at a bar, a sheriff's deputy, and the gunman all dead. It happened at the Borderline Bar in